Alright, what's up everyone? So I have tried and failed miserably multiple times to live stream these drafts. So if you're watching this, it's because I'm recording and want to get some content up. And so on fantasy football stuff here. So I'm just going to record this and yeah, so we're going to go from there. So we're jumping into a draft. We're waiting for the last person here. Basically, I'm just prepping for my upcoming draft, which that one I care about because there's some money on the line for that one. But these other ones are just going to be fun to get into 1 through 10 draft position and just practice. The one that I'm going to be doing on Tuesday is really different compared to there's my dreaded 7th round pick always. It's going to be way different. I haven't done a league like this where you have, I think it's like 4 flex spots, and one of them involves a QB, tight end, wide receiver, or running back, and then the other 3 are receiver, running back, or tight end. So you could potentially, I think it was like, you can have like 5 running backs. Is it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs starting every week, which is insane. And it's a PPR, and it has bonus points. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else added in. Oh, there is 2 reserve spots, which I don't think I'll ever use them. Basically what that is if a player goes on IR and they're due back in 6 weeks and you lost them in the second week, that will give you a chance to get that player back towards the end of the fantasy season. So like if you draft, let's say Saquon Barkley, for instance, and he gets hurt week 2 and they're like, he's going to be out for 8 weeks and he'll be coming back week 8 or week 10, you can actually put him in that reserve spot, and then it doesn't take up a spot on your bench or your roster or anything like that, and then you can go pick up somebody else and deal with that. So it's pretty interesting how they have that set up in there, but as you can see, all my little my YouTube and Google notifications popping up right there. And it has 7 bench spots. The normal benching is 6. So the draft strategy is going to be a little bit different in that one compared to what I normally do. Just because you can do 2 QBs. I feel like there's a lot of QBs out there you can pick up as a second one that will probably fit really well into that flex spot and cover a bigger point spread than some of these receivers and running backs that you would get super late to try to fit in there. So when I do that draft, that might also help some of you guys out there in the double quarterback leagues. I have done a double quarterback league multiple years. I think they're really fun, but they're also really stressful if you have too many people in your league. I did one where you had 8 people in the league, and that one was really easy to manage. And then I did a double quarterback league where we had 12 people in the league, and that was super insane because with 12 people, you automatically have 24 quarterbacks starting, and there's 32 in the league. So that leaves 8 quarterbacks left on the waiver wire. And you do have people that try to stash, but the commissioner of that league, which was me and a couple others in the league, decided to make a rule to where you could only have a third quarterback on your squad if one of yours was on bye. Or you could pick up a third one to drop an injured one or keep an injured one if your injured one was like Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees or Brady, something like that. So there was some stipulation to that just so that we wouldn't have people hoarding the quarterbacks to keep people from being competitive. Some of you are going to disagree with that and say, well, that's part of the game. If you're not paying attention to stash a quarterback, that's your own problem. But at the same time, you do have those D-bags out there that are going to pick up 4 or 5 quarterbacks to try to keep anybody from really being competitive. So I guess you could play both ends of the spectrum there and make an argument for both, but we wanted to keep the league fun. We wanted to keep things competitive, so we went the other route of just don't be a D-bag and stash 14 quarterbacks on your team. So we're going to start pretty soon. It looks like it's probably going to be Saquon first pick, which it wouldn't surprise me if it isn't. And then look, McCaffrey goes first pick. I had a draft the other night where the first pick was Baker Mayfield, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Are you for real right now? Baker Mayfield, really? Is that where we're going with this?" So, I would actually be super happy to get DeAndre Hopkins in this position, and it's looking pretty darn close to getting that way. Yeah, I mean, I would have taken Kamara, but I don't think I'm going to get him. I might have to take Devontae Adams here. I'm surprised Aaron Rodgers went fourth pick. That seems a little excessive there. So we didn't get who we wanted. As much as I love Devontae Adams, he's a Fresno State kid. That's, Fresno State has warm place in my heart there, and he's on Green Bay, which makes it even harder. Running backs are so few this year. I feel like there's so many receivers that you could get. And I think DJ just had a bad, now that he's got a better quarterback there, I think DJ is the pick here. I think I'm going to let Adams float by and take DJ because, like I said, running backs are very low this year. And at 14th pick, I mean, I have no problem taking Todd Gurley or Beckham. Definitely not taking Gordon or Mixon. But with the way these things have been going, who knows? I mean, Le'Veon Bell, no, he ain't going to float through. It'll probably be, if it goes through to here, it'll be Adams and Bell going to this team if these guys don't take him. So it's looking like I'm either getting Gurley or Beckham. And a lot of people have been really bad against Gurley. I don't understand it. Gurley is a monster. Yeah, somebody took him already. But Gurley is a monster when it comes to fantasy. I don't see a reason not to take him, So there goes Adams, and so hopefully I can get Thomas. I want Thomas, but I doubt that's going to happen. Although the way this draft's been going, it could be anybody, really. Aaron Rodgers went fourth pick. And then Tyreek went 8th, which I don't agree with that, but okay. I mean, if either one of these guys, any of these three, these three is what I'm going to get. It just depends. I want him. I want Michael Thomas. Of course, the guy takes Michael Thomas. Looks like I'm going to be stuck with Beckham. I might actually just take Kelsey. I don't normally take a tight end in the first 3 rounds. I normally draft him in like the 10th round. You know what? Julio Jones is still there. We're taking him. I'm really surprised by that. I don't think you reach down and get James Conner, especially when you have a. Yeah, I don't think you take James Conner there, but that's just me. That's my opinion. All right, so our next pick is going to be 27th. So that don't hurt yourself over there. 27th puts us in around, with some of the people that have left, it puts us around Thielen, Fournette area, which I'm okay with that. I'll take an Adam Thielen. If Nick Chubb is there, I might take him. Fournette, I would only take him if Thielen, Chubb. Who else? Yeah, Thielen, Chubb, or Evans is gone. Then I would take Fournette. I'm not high on Fournette, but he did. Fournette did get some good help with Foles, and Dede Westbrook is coming along nicely as a number 1, which that's a sleeper pick for a lot of you guys out there that are paying attention to late round drafting. You can pick up Dede Westbrook in like the 10th round. I've been getting him in the 10th round. I think he's my 10th round gem this year. I usually find one or two guys in the 10th to it's like 9 to 12. Round 9 to 12, I find somebody there. Alvin Kamara's rookie year, I drafted him 12th round, and he was a monster for me. Last year, I was drafting George Kittle in the 12th round, and he was a monster for me. I always seem to find a 10th round gem. There was the year that Brady was supposed to be suspended for 4 games. He fell to 10th round in our draft, and I took him. And then he ended up not being suspended and had a really good year that year. And I ended up getting an elite quarterback in the 10th round, while people were spending their 2nd and 3rd rounds to take Breeze and Aaron Rodgers. Sometimes, if you just pay attention and you just wait it out and you look at the way the draft is going, you can get some really, really good picks at great value. But you have to be patient. You have to go in with a draft strategy. That year, I went in with a draft strategy of watching Brady. Really, Chris Carson at 17? That's insane. But I really watched everything happening and was like, you know what? It's 10th round. Tom Brady's still there. Why is he still there? 4-game suspension? Okay, like 10th round? I've already got my team by then. Why not? And I took him. And I drafted a backup quarterback, just in case. I think I drafted a quarterback because I was like, you know what? At that time, he was going to have the 4-game suspension. And come week 1, they were like, no, Brady can play. And I dropped that other quarterback and just started Brady the whole time. So I think the people that are getting Zeke and Melvin Gordon, I feel for you guys because I don't think either one of them are going to be back week 1, maybe week 2, maybe week 3. But if you do draft Melvin Gordon in the early rounds, pay attention and draft Austin Ekler. You can get him in the 10th or 11th round pretty easily. And it's a pretty good steal, getting somebody like Ekler. He's actually a decent running back. And he definitely will fill the shoes until your Melvin Gordon comes back. Now, if you're drafting Zeke, I'm sorry, but I think his name's like Trey or Troy. What is it? Let me see. No, it must be Trey. It's like a T. What is his name? Running back. While we wait for our pick to come up here. Tony. That's close. It was a T. Tony Pollard. He is on no one's radar right now. If you do draft Zeke, I would use your very last pick for like your bench and all that. What the heck? For your bench and all that to go get okay, this is annoying. To go get Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard will definitely get you that. I think it's the scroll right that's messing up. So let's go ahead and disable, save. And my mouse is kind of getting old here. Wow, am I on the clock? I am on the clock. Okay, did Thielen get to... Gosh, dang it. Okay, so here's decision time. Do we take Leonard Fournette or do we take Devontae Freeman? I like Devontae Freeman. The only problem is he's injury prone. Same with Leonard Fournette. Devontae Freeman did not play hardly any games last year. So there's one game he played. He had 68 rushing, 23 receiving, 14-10. I think it was one game. It could have been 2 games. The point is, Fournette, if he can stay healthy, you know what? I think I'm going to take Fournette. I took him last year. He pissed me off. I'm going to ignore what happened last year and just kind of go give him a second chance. That's what we're going to do. We're going to give him a second chance. All right. So, God, this is why I hate 7th pick. I wanted him. I wanted Thielen. Didn't happen. So where are we at? We're at David Johnson, Leonard Fournette, Julio Jones. You know what? That's not a bad starting 3. I'll take it. Could be worse. I could have Melvin Gordon and Zeke and have no running back still, even though I drafted them. Let's see what wide receivers are up. So we've got Mike Evans still there. Wow, that's not going to happen because these are going to auto-pick Evans, Hilton. Yeah, there goes Evans. So here comes Hilton Cooper? Hilton Zertz. Okay. So Kittle's been taken already too, it looks like. Oh, no, I'm in the receivers. That's why. So let's go to all. Wow. If Devontae Freeman or Kittle is still there, I'm definitely going for that. The only problem I have with Kittle this year, so Kittle, drafted him last year in the 12th round. Every single league. And I did like 5 leagues. And he was just insane. The problem I have with Kittle this year is Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo has looked like trash ever since he came back from the ACL tear. Now, they're hoping he's dusting off the rust and he's getting somewhere with it, but Kittle shined because of CJ Beathard and the other guy that I can't think of his name right now. CJ Beathard and Kittle played at the same college. They had a lot of repertoire. They knew each other. They knew the routes and all that. I don't think Kittle has as big of a year as he had last year. I think he is 214 points, not 255 like they're projecting. Is he still going to be a top 5 tight end? You better believe it. He's going to be a top 5 tight end. I don't think he's worth the 3rd or 4th. Well, he might be worth a 4th round price tag, but he's not worth a 3rd round price tag. I'll tell you that much. But I think if he's there after this guy picks, which I think he's going to take Kittle. Oh, he didn't take Kittle. He took Luck. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Kittle. I think I'm going to break stride of what I normally do and just take a tight end here. 4th round pick for Kittle. I think that's a steal. Most people have been taking him in the 3rd and 2nd rounds. So, you know, I'm okay with that. So this puts us back down to 47th. Wow. I'm sorry, guys. Long day. It is currently 10 o'clock at night. I think by the time it comes back to me, I think I'm going to pick up David Montgomery. The Bears absolutely love this guy at running back. He is definitely going to be taking a bell cow role because they're really going to dial back Tariq Cohen's snap count and use him more as a 3rd down back for those the 3rd and shorts to try and do little dump off passes from Trubisky. So this guy will be the bell cow. This guy will be the guy driving down on 1st and 2nd downs. And apparently he's had a really impressive training camp. He's had pretty good exhibition games. Now, preseason you take with a grain of salt because you really don't have a ton of starters out there. It's more of filling out those last few roster spots, who's going to be on practice squads, who's going to be that 4th and 5th on the depth chart to take over when a second or third option gets hurt, things like that. So preseason, it's a little bit of shaking off the rust, and it's a little bit of just filling out the last part of the 53-man rosters, because I think they're at like 75-man rosters right now, and then they have to get to that 53 at the deadline. So I'm kind of curious here to see what we're left with. Now, I'm not too worried about receivers, because look at that. Look at what's still left. I mean, we got Robert Woods, we've got Calvin Ridley, we got Jarvis Landry, we got Allen Robinson. You've still got Sterling Shepard, Corey Davis, my boy Dede Westbrook that I'm really big on. Probably get him in the 10th round. I'm not worried about getting any receivers, really. Not worried. I mean, I wouldn't mind taking another running back, because here we go with the running backs. I mean, we got Devontae Freeman. We've got Sony Michel. Drops off pretty hard. We got David Montgomery. There's Austin Ekler. He's actually a starting running back in the 75th pick here, or 75th ranked, which I think is really low for him. We got, look at LeSean McCoy as a starter. Man, has he fallen. You've got Duke Johnson, which will probably overtake Lamar Miller's job. You've got Kareem Hunt, who was a first-rounder last year, and now he's down there because of this 8-game suspension. And then, there really isn't much as far as running backs. So I would strongly take running backs early on. That's why I took Fournette. Even though I wanted to take, a possible receiver, I still went double running backs there early on to get those bell cows. Where's my water? This is going really slow. Obviously, people aren't realizing what they want. See, this helps you. When you come in and you know your draft strategy, you know what you want to do, knowing what your position is at any given pick helps you out immensely, because once you take your pick, you get to sit back and watch how the flow of the draft is going. So, like here, getting Kittle 4th pick. I normally don't take a tight end till round 12. 12 or 13, depending on. Because I like to spend my first 10 rounds on receivers and running. Actually, 11. It's 5 and 6, yeah. So I like to spend my first 11 rounds on running backs and wide receivers. Then I take my QB or tight end, and then whichever one I took in the 12th, I take the opposite in the 13th, and then kicker in 14, defense in 15. Because kickers and defenses really don't give a ton of points. Now, can you lose a fantasy matchup by 3? Hell yeah, you can. But the point is majority of the time your kicker isn't the reason why you lost. It's because your running backs suck, or your receiver core sucks, or your QB sucked, or your tight end was terrible because he got hurt. Normally, and I want to say tight end probably usually doesn't win you a game either, unless you have Kelsey or Kittle or someone of that caliber. Majority of the time, it's your running backs and receivers. That's the heart of your team. It's 5 starting positions out of the 9. It's literally half your team. So spending a majority of your picks on QBs and receivers is the best way to go. So there goes Devontae Freeman, so I'm not going to get him. Now, some of you are going to be like, that's excessive. Why would you spend 11 picks for receivers and running backs? Why don't you pick up an extra quarterback? Why don't you pick up an extra tight end? Why don't you pick up an extra kicker and defense? Okay. David Montgomery, here we go. So a lot of you that have played will understand this mentality of what I'm about to say. I like to do what is called a rotisserie defense, where I do flavor of the week for defense. So I'll generally pick a defense that is probably going to have a pretty good matchup week 1. And if they have a good week 2, I'll keep them. If there's a better one that will have a better week 2, I pick them up. So for instance, when Jacksonville had Blake Bortles, or when Cleveland sucked major at anything, I picked up whoever was playing the Cleveland Browns. I picked up whoever was playing Jacksonville. I picked up whoever was going to have a team that was just turning over the ball consistently. Now, sometimes they're playing the Denver Broncos or the Seahawks or whatever defense that people are go gaga over and taking the 6th round for some odd reason. There is no defense that you should take in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. There's no defense you should take in any round other than 15. No defense. Defenses, on average, get you about 4 to 6 points a week. On average. And if you look, so let's see here. You could pick up something like Tevin Cole for 193, right? Look at the number 1 defense. Bears, 187. Any players, and then the next one's 150, okay? Then 146, 135, okay? Look at the point spread there. It's terrible, okay? Look at that. Round 6, he took the Bears. No reason to. No reason to. So, let's go back and look at running backs. 233, 230, 222. The Bears don't start to beat somebody until Jordan Howard, TJ Yeldon. By then, those guys don't do anything. Look at receivers. Oh, we're on the clock. Tyler Boyd, Jarvis, Landry, all these guys. Look at this. All right, so let's go by rank here. So we want to take a receiver. We've got Calvin Ridley. Since we've already got Julio Jones, we don't want to go there. We've got Jarvis Landry. We've got Allen Robinson to pick. We got Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd has flashes of greatness here. But I don't like Cincinnati. I'm sorry, Cincinnati fans, but I just can't take him. AJ Green, he's hurt. I think we're going to go take Jarvis. Oops. We're going to take Jarvis here. Now, we have a lot of picks until then. So we've pretty much rounded out the core of our team. Quarterback, we're not going to take till late. Let's see. What quarterbacks have already been taken? I'm sure Aaron Rodgers, yada, yada, yada. Aaron Rodgers went 4th. What was the next one? Mahomes, I think, went. Mahomes went in the 3rd round. Wow, that's rare. I've been seeing him go 1st, 2nd. So Mahomes went. Mahomes. So far, only 2 quarterbacks have been taken. Interesting. Oh, no. There's Breezy. Drew Breezy. Okay, so Deshaun Watson's up there. So who out of points here? We got Matt Ryan. We got Ben Roethlisberger. We got Deshaun. Goff. Wilson. This guy right here, a lot of people will not take him right away, which is good. And you get him in the late rounds. I think having him and Julio on your team gives you nothing but points. Now you're going to see the quarterback I get, and you're going to think, interesting that he spent a 12th round pick for that quarterback. Look at what I have as far as a team already. David Johnson, Fournette, Julio Jones, Landry, Kittle, Montgomery. No quarterback, no kicker, no defense. We're about to start fill up that bench. And it's going to start with... I think this guy. I think we're going to go for Allen Robinson. Now, here's the thing with Allen Robinson. The dude's got talent. That's all I can say. He got a bad rap in Jacksonville because he had Blake Bortles. He got hurt last year. If he stays healthy this year, with Trubisky developing under center, he'll do well. And not to mention, I mean, Jones and Landry. That's who I have already. So do I really need... Look, here comes the 7th round quarterbacks shuffle. Watson, Mayfield, Wilson. It's so funny. Mark Ingram used... Oh, he took... Wow, Matt Ryan went. I don't like that. Alright, that's fine. We don't get our Matt Ryan. Boo-hoo. So, taking Allen Robinson here. A lot of you are probably wondering, well, why not take Philip Lindsay? I don't like Philip Lindsay. And the reason why I don't like Philip Lindsay is not because he doesn't have any talent. Kid's got talent. Kid can play. There's Royce Freeman. There's Devontae Booker, I believe, still. There's Philip Lindsay. It's a committee. Not to mention, they have Joe Flacco. Flacco is not a great quarterback. So, I just don't trust him. I would take Calvin Ridley. I already have Julio Jones. Don't need another Atlanta Falcon receiver. Tariq Cohen. Have David Montgomery. Don't need him. Have a tight end. AJ Green, he's hurt. Lamar Miller, terrible offensive line on the Houston Texans. Miles Sanders, rookie. I don't know how he's going to perform. I've heard rave reviews in his camp, but I don't think he's got the same setup as Montgomery does as a rookie. Plus, I don't want to draft too many rookies. So the next best option is Allen Robinson. So we're going to take Allen Robinson. Now, coming back for our next pick, we're probably going to jump to running back because we've got 3 and 3 right now. So right here, it's going to be 3 and 3. We're going to end up with 6 running backs and 5 receivers. Well, there's my boy Austin Ekler. He is a guaranteed starter right now while Melvin Gordon holds out. Also, Melvin Gordon is prone to injury. Austin Ekler is not a bad candidate to have, even if Gordon isn't hurt. He's still a good little PPR guy. Good little flex spot if you have a running back on bye. So I mean, receiving touchdown. Look at his receiving and rushing yards. Look at that. That is a dual threat back. That's what you want for PPR. So you will notice, if I were to take a screenshot of like all the teams that I've drafted, the only thing that really changes are my first like 5, sometimes 6 picks. After that, my bench picks and my QBs, kickers, and defenses are relatively the same. The reason being is once you get past about the 6th round, it's all a crapshoot on who you draft. I mean, it's even like that in the first couple rounds. But I feel like after the 6th round, the quality of players drops dramatically. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't talented players. I'm not saying that there aren't hidden gems. It's just the talent of player drops. I mean, look at the point totals. It's clear. And if you're paying attention to what's actually there, some of the numbers are inflated and aren't actually true. Now here's an interesting play. AJ Green. They haven't really shown a expected return. AJ Green has flashes of greatness. He's got talent. He's got speed. When Dalton's on fire, which is rare but can happen, I think for a 9th round pick, I wouldn't be opposed to stashing him. Because like I said, my team is set. Now we're just rounding out the bench. Another thought to think about when you're adding to your bench, when you're picking up players for the bench, not only are they for bye week purposes, they're not only for when players are injured and you need to swap in a player who's healthy. Not only is it when your 5th round pick is a disaster and one of your bench players keep going off and you want to switch. The players you draft in your bench during the draft are also trade bait. Trade bait. Now let me explain. You will have those players out there who are highly emotional players. When I say players, I mean fantasy owners that you're playing against. And I know because I've had this happen many occasions where somebody presents it to me. I don't even go after it. They will give me somebody like Mike Evans, Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, somebody of that caliber, 1st, 2nd rounder, for 2 7th and 8th rounders that are doing well. And I look at them with a possible team already of like Julio Jones, Landry, Landry and Fournette and Johnson and go, yeah, I'll take Mike Evans. I'll take Michael Thomas. I'll take DeAndre Hopkins off your hands. You can have these 2 subpar players for a superstar. Totally acceptable. Trade. Now I have an open spot on my bench and I have a superstar player. Why not? Then I go look for another Calvin Ridley. I go look for another Allen Robinson, Austin Ekler, Chris Thompson, anybody like that. And I add them to my bench. And then I wait for the next trade bait. There's a lot of elements to this game that people don't think about or maybe care enough about. And one of them is filling out a roster that is superb to others and make them want to trade you their best players. It's hard. People get very attached to players. I've had times where I'm offering, let's say, Allen Robinson, Chris Carson, and maybe like an Ashlon Jeffries for a DeAndre Hopkins. And they're like, no, I will keep DeAndre, even though they're hurting for another receiver and or running back. Fine with me. I'll go to the playoffs. You won't. Now, I say those things jokingly. A lot of you may be like, man, this guy sounds like an elitist. It's not that. It's just when you're trying to get somebody, you got to pay for them. Just how the game works. All right, so it's really looking like I'm going to take AJ Green here. Because my next pick is going to be my boy Dede Westbrook. He's my 10th rounder. I take him every 10th round. This guy can never pick. I mean, look at the ADPs on some of these. This guy's killing me. Ron. Wow, Tom Brady, 10th round. He's a Super Bowl champion 6 times. Why is he going? No, I'm just kidding. Because his production's low. I mean, I still think that's a steal. 10th round, Tom Brady. I think he's like an 8th rounder if you're somebody who likes to draft a quarterback earlier than you should. Now, in this other draft that I'm going to be doing, at this point here, I'm going to have 7 bench spots. So I'm probably going to be able to go 6 and 6. Actually, more than that. I'm going to be able to go 7 and 7, I think. Anyways. There comes a point where, in that draft, I probably take a Ben Roethlisberger and a Jared Goff, or a Carson Wentz and a Ben Roethlisberger, or a Trubisky, because, and it's probably going to be a lot sooner than I want because of that position where you can put a QB in your flex. Okay, we're taking Dede Westbrook, right? There he is. Alright, so we're on to some running backs to finish this out. This is where I think, let's look at what they have. Like, they have Miller, Sanders. This is where LeSean McCoy and Kareem Hunt come in to take up, I think. Singletary is a backup. Trying to see if there was another Denver one here. So if you're gonna watch waiver wire, and this guy right here, Jay Ajayi, is definitely one to watch because I believe he's gonna find a team that needs a running back, which there's a couple out there, and it's still early in the season to where people are probably gonna forget about him because he is a free agent right now. Alright, so where were we? Running backs here. I like Duke Johnson just for the fact that Lamar Miller's terrible. He's got PPR value. Look at that. Look at his receiving yards over his rushing yards. He's obviously a receiver. LeSean McCoy, I like him because he's a starter. And you could easily trade him to somebody who's looking to get a running back. Shady, he's been good before. Hopefully, Buffalo having the good quarterback now. I think it's Josh Allen. Is it Josh Allen? I could be wrong. What's his name? Let's look it up. Josh Allen. Yep, I was right. With Josh Allen being there and them having a couple weapons for receiver, maybe the Bills start pulling some games together. I don't know. But I like McCoy here. I'm getting him in the 11th round. Like, can't complain. Coming back around, there is Kareem Hunt. And stashing him wouldn't be bad. I don't see a problem. Yeah, I'm just going to stash Kareem. And look at that. There is our filled out bench. Our filled out team. So now QB, kicker, and defense. So 13th round QB is, drumroll please, either Goff or Big Ben. And I'm going to go with Big Ben. Because look at those passing yards, touchdowns. Yes, he has 16 interceptions. He also has 3 rushing touchdowns. Goff's got 2 and 32 with 12. But about 300 yards less. 400 yards less. Roughly. Now, Kyler Murray being there for David Johnson's pretty good. But again, I don't trust Kyler Murray. I don't trust their offensive line. I can go with an established Big Ben who's got Rothlisberger's got Juju. He's got Vance McDonald. He's got James Conner. He's got some weapons to throw to. There's no reason not to take him. Now, see, Goff got taken, so we don't want to worry about him. I won't play him. Don't want him. I wouldn't mind playing Wentz. 21 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Not bad. Rivers is usually pretty good at getting some touchdowns thrown. But again, the pick I definitely want is Ben Roethlisberger. Now, a lot of you are like, damn, Ben Roethlisberger, 13th pick. That seems pretty ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I mean, look at the point total that he can produce that I'm getting at a 13th round pick. It's just, why waste early quarterback picks when you can take Ben Roethlisberger? Even if he just does his projection, it's higher than a lot of these other quarterbacks actually produce. So, this Philly boy is just killing me, man. Alright, so we got our QB tight end now to kicker and defense to wrap this up. Super easy. We're just probably going to take Aldrich Rosa, and then defense, we're going to take Cleveland Browns, because Browns or Patriots is who I'm taking first week. Why, you might ask? Because right here, the Cleveland Browns, I think, are an underrated defense. I think they're going to do really well this year. They've improved their defensive core. Myles Garrett is the new Von Miller. You can quote me on that. He's insane. He's going to do numerous things in this league as long as he stays healthy, just like any other player with that asterisk. I see a lot of potential in the Browns. Now, I'm not on the Super Bowl bandwagon. Do I think they'll make the playoffs? Absolutely. Do I think they're going to win the AFC? Absolutely not. Because they're either going to lose to the Chiefs or the Patriots. That's just how it is. I think there's a higher probability that the Browns sneak in through the AFC wildcard. And I think that they actually win that game against maybe the Ravens, which is a far stretch. I don't think it might be the Ravens, but it could be. Because I don't think Miami or Buffalo or the Jets are going. And I don't believe... what other AFC teams? It would probably be... Because you got the Raiders, Broncos... Chiefs are going to win that division. Patriots are going to win their division. I feel strongly it's either the Steelers or Ravens that win their division. And then what am I blanking on as the last division? What is it? Indy, Jacksonville. Indy or Jacksonville. So I don't think the Titans. And then there's Houston in there too. Oh God, yeah, that's gonna be interesting. So Patriots, Chiefs, and then the other two divisions, it's up in the air. You really don't know. So, but I think the Browns are going to be in contention for a wild card spot. I don't think they win the division. I think the Steelers win the division. I think the Browns beat out the Ravens for the wild card. And then you're left with Houston and Indy or Houston and Jacksonville. And I think you have Jacksonville and the Browns play in the AFC and then the AFC wild card. And then would it be 2 games? Yeah, I think it's 2 teams play in the NFC wild card. So you have the Browns against either the Steelers or the Texans or Jacksonville. One of those 3, and then the other one plays there. Yeah, I think you win. I think they win if they play Jacksonville or Houston, and I think they lose if they play the Steelers in the wild card. So that's my AFC predictions. I'll try to do NFC predictions in the next mock draft, just because I think it's fun. And I really wasn't going to do predictions until I started talking about the Browns as a sleeper defense. So, yeah. So that's what I got for this one. Obviously, I'm just going to pick a defense and a kicker here and be done. Nothing crazy, no wild picks here. So I might actually take Robbie Gould if he's still there. That's the other kicker. Robbie Gould and Rosa are the 2 kickers I've been looking at. And so, because both of their quarterbacks are terrible, and both of their offenses are probably going to be very stagnant field goal offenses. So that's what I got for you guys on this one. Catch you in the next one.